And we are live, and this screen looks bad. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that I end up getting that right because my green screen looks off. So I'm going to take myself off the screen. What's going on? This is Travis from Carter Cow Capital. This is another episode of Trade with Travis, the morning session. Hope everybody's doing very well as we go through and take a look at everything else that's going on in our trading day. I am going to do a couple things real quick in the back end just to be able to make sure that I can be able to go through this and feel comfortable with what y'all are looking at. Because right now, I don't like what I'm looking at from a standpoint of where we are right now. I'm going to do this, and I am going to do this for right now. And we'll get that out the way. Give me 1 quick second. I can be able to catch all of that. Let's go. Here we go. Hey, Rosine, what's going on with you? I hope everything's going well. Yeah, we're going to do this today. All right, there we go. Hope everybody's doing very well. My screen was bad. So I'm just going to go with the original version, and we'll kind of go with everything else with that. But I hope everybody's doing very well on this Tuesday morning, 5 days before Christmas, and trying to get everything else situated with that. I'm going to go ahead and go through the disclaimer, and then after that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it is not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, as we go through and be able to take a look at most of these trading pairs, I want to make sure that I end up giving everybody the opportunity to be able to be a part of our overall Discord. And everything else that we have going on. I probably should have this on the second slide. I never use the second slide anymore. We talked about that like right at the beginning of when we started doing the Trade with Travis sessions on TradingView. But really and truthfully, my trading style has actually changed since I've talked about that and being able to go from there. So we'll change that up as we go through and get everything else situated. But I want to give everybody, once again, the opportunity to be able to do a couple things. One, if you would like to be able to join our community Trade with Travis Discord, that is inside of the chat box right now. There it is. Free link that you can be able to go to, be able to open up, be able to get a lot of information. Obviously, we have a premium side of that, but you're more than welcome to be able to use that as a way of being able to get more information. Also, can't get this done without being able to use my broker. My broker is FX. FX gives one the 500 leverage that allows you to be able to take out your money within the same day when it comes down to being able to make profits, which is always good. Interested in being able to learn a little bit more about that, I actually have it inside of the disclaimer and place it inside the chat box as well as a way of being able to get that done. Now, with that being said, what are we doing? What has been the overall plan for the last few days and everything else? Me personally, my thought process has been very simple. I think I've said this to everybody. I'm pretty much flat when it comes down to trading live at this particular point. I'm not interested in being able to place in a lot of money, especially with the holidays being so close. So from a live trading standpoint, from a money standpoint, quite frankly, I am trading, but right now I am trading more to be able to get data than to actually be able to make profits. Okay. So I am going to say that I'm going to preference that for people that are looking to be able to say, hey, I need to get a trade in right now, and I need to trade today, and I need to hurry up and be able to make money today. I'm telling you right now, I'm not in that mode. My mode is we're going through the second phase of the first phase of the boss ban EA and having it go through its FTMO challenge. the trial challenge and being able to get everything else situated with that, so it can be ready for February. And also at this particular point, we are getting to a point to where we already have the Boss EA out, and we're going through more forward testing and everything else like that for that, and the new clients that have went in. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about the Boss EA, all you gotta do is go to MQL5. You end up going to MQL5. It was on this. It was very close to the leaderboard list earlier. There it is, right there. There, cool, nice. We're still on the leaderboard. Well, in the top, about as good as we're gonna be for right now. We can always be better, but you can be able to click on that. Boss EA is right here. And once again, we obviously end up using that as a way of being able to pass the first portion of the trial, FTMO, and then obviously everything else that we end up doing. If you're interested in being able to get your free demo, or obviously being able to purchase, we're not at the launch price anymore. But we are at a 60% discount price. So I mean, a 50% discount price at this particular point in time. So if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more, there you go. Go ahead and get this off the screen. Enough promo. Let's go ahead and go to work. All right, so we take a look at what's happening today. We have the Bank of Japan press conference that already happened. We got building permits and housing starts. That's going to end up happening. We have retail sales. It's going to end up happening at 9:30. That's going to end up being the biggest thing. Let's see. JPY crash today after the news. I need to take a look at my the one that I have trading right now. It's a Skywalker EA. We'll take a look at that and be able to put that together and see what's happening with that information. But I got a lot of stuff running in the background right now. Everything, like legitimately, I have 2 optimizations running. Cutting up film for Expert Advisor reviews, where we're going to end up reviewing the Undefeated Triangle and the Aurora Black EAs, and also the Golden Pickaxe. I'm interested in being able to learn a little bit more about the Golden Pickaxe. But all of those films and everything else like that will end up being this week. But I got to finish up on some of the small little details when it comes down to both of those pairs. But all of them end up ranking pretty well when it came down to our 5-star results. But I got to deliver it in a good message, in a way. All right. So with that being said, let's talk. So gold, where are we at? At this particular point, we end up saying that on this chart, from a daily perspective, we end up finding a little bit of consolidation. There was a overall de-extension that was expected to happen. I feel this is going slow, and I know why it's going slow. It's going slow because of optimizations. Let's see. Excellent improvement in EA. No, I appreciate that. They've been working hard on that one. Well, we've been working hard on all of them. But the numbers are doing very well. So there was an entry that we ended up talking about being able to get into a little bit earlier, right around the 1805 area. But then after that, once we end up having a true resistance, we end up saying there was no entries until 1811. 1811 is the overall breakout position of where the market should be able to go to. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this now because it doesn't make sense to be able to make a trade inside of consolidation. You're not going to make any money. There's a 33% chance of being able to make anything, so we're not going to end up chasing that. So as we go through and be able to take a look at this market, this entry will end up being right around 1811. Take profit will end up being at 1872 with a stop loss. I had at 17. I had at 1789. I don't know if I still feel that same way from a 2-hour perspective. We got to look at the latest swing low and be able to make our best decision off of that. The last time we placed our stop in, our stop was based off of this overall candlestick, and we made it below. Now, because we've done broken below that overall area, and obviously we see that gold is actually getting stronger as a pair compared to actually getting weaker areas. So might end up seeing that the United States dollar is getting a little bit weaker overall based off of this movement, based off of what's been happening over the course of the last few hours. But I don't have a stop loss on this one yet. The reason why I don't have a stop loss on this one is because that we don't have a swing low that we can be able to confirm yet. The next swing low that I can possibly be able to say, if we're being very honest, will probably end up being down here, which is right around that 1786 area, somewhere around there. Our risk versus reward is still be pretty good. But the question is, do we want to take that trade going into knowing that we're going to end up seeing low volatility over the course of the next 3 to 4 days. And my answer to that is, from a demo perspective, absolutely, let's go ahead and take that trade. From a live perspective, probably not. All right, so on this one, I'm looking at it, but obviously 1811 will end up being a trade, but I'm going to probably take this trade off a demo and kind of just see how well it ends up going and track it and monitor it. Anybody else that wants to be able to take that trade, we end up pushing this one out yesterday, but it never triggered in our trade on Discord. So there you go. You can be able to take a look at that one. United States dollar index. As we go through and take a look at that one is in consolidation and still remains to be in consolidation as well. And as long as it's in the middle of that consolidation, quite frankly, we can move forward. There's really no operation for us to be able to say that we should be looking at being able to get to this trade, but we know where it rejected off of. So I feel pretty good about that. From a daily and weekly standpoint, the market is in the buy zone on the weekly. I will sell gold above 1815. I take a look at that again, everything, and give an opinion based off of that. Last week candle, we end up having a morning star based off the weekly, but on this one, it's showing that we found support right around that 12,890 area. From a daily perspective, I'm going to show you that morning star candlestick that I was seeing. There goes the morning star candlestick. We're basically well, this is called an engulfing candlestick. I can see that as well. It covered up 3 days. But the market tried to peak at the resistance and then from there started to be able to fall or started to be able to fail. That makes sense. Obviously, as we are looking at a lot of pairs being in consolidation, natural support on this one is what number? Let's see. Natural support is 12,815. Natural resistance inside of this overall area currently right now is right around 12,960. Because we're in the middle of this overall area, there's no trade to be able to take. So I'm going to stay away on United States dollar index. Once again, we probably won't trade this one until the beginning of the year overall. But we'll see how everything kind of plays out. It may cause a false breakout during the news. Well, it may. And that's the reason why I'm saying that I'm going to end up trading more demo from this point moving forward compared to actually trading live. There's no reason why we should be placing in money and trying to lose money in the holiday season. We've done very good this year. We might as well just finish off, just allow it to be able to move to the upside. Let's see. Let's go with oil. What's happening with oil? Oil still hasn't broken out of that counter trend line break. It went all the way down as low as $73 a barrel. That was our entry point at some point for some reason, because that was in magenta. I don't remember why. Oh, it was our entry point when the market broke the counter trend line break up here to go to 77.11. Okay, I remember that. Since then, market has broken out of consolidation. We go back into the weekly standpoint. We can see that the market is in a push zone to the downside. We should expect that it possibly could get down to $64 a barrel, but keep this in mind. We are in the winter months, and because we are in the winter months, typically oil starts to be able to get a little bit stronger. And if oil's getting a little bit stronger, then that means that we ultimately should be looking at buying than we are selling at this particular point. That's always been my long-term standpoint when it comes down to oil. From October on, I'm always trying to look at bullish opportunities than bearish. But we take a look at it from a daily perspective. The market has been rejecting off of this trend line. We've seen that it ended up rejecting off of this point, and this point right here. Currently, right now, we are fighting against that point right there at this particular point in time. We're going to see if this market is going to end up breaking out of that. If it doesn't, then if it does, then that means that we see slightly bullish movement. If we don't, then obviously we're going to end up seeing that this market will continue to reject. Now, early in the morning, we have an indecision candlestick from that counter trend line break that ended up happening. And then after that, popping back up. So that means that now officially there is your trend line, which means that this is showing signs of it could have some bullish movement today. Am I holding my breath on being able to say that I need to trade oil today? No. We are still inside of a larger range of consolidation. And may not necessarily still be the best move to be able to take at this particular point in time. I'm sorry, we're still in the push zone to the downside, but this is showing upward movement. So right now, that is not giving us a fair chance of being able to make any type of trade off of this one. Okay, let's take a look at US yen and see what's happening with US yen. Give us a better chance of being able to know what happened. Look at that drop. There we go. So, if you were with us when we started talking about this with TradingView or in TradingView, we ended up catching the market when the market was at 151.75 as a way of being able to get out of a buy and then after that starting to sell. From that standpoint, we ended up saying that this market was going to end up, once it ended up breaking the inner trend line, it was going to gravitate toward the outer trend line. That was our first trade where we ended up getting out at 141.70. When the market ended up getting out of 141.70, we ended up being flat. It started to consolidate again. We ended up saying that we was interested in being able to make another sale, especially as it goes from the innermost trend line. From breaking the innermost trend line to the inner trend line, and then going from the inner trend line to the outer trend line. Currently, right now, the market is gravitating toward the outer trend line and is in a push zone to the downside, as the D extension is expected to be at 130. As we end up taking a look at this, and I don't know where my fibs went, but there was some fibs right there. So let's go ahead and make sure we put those fibs back. Bam, there we go. Take profit is at 130 when it comes down to that movement. Now, because of this movement of the day, and how many pips was this? 200, 300. What was this? Total range 500 points. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the news. What did they say in this press conference? All right, Arizine. Now, all right, cool. I'm going to ask you now, what did they say in the press conference? Because that's a big move. You ended up pointing this out a little bit earlier. Bank of Japan will end up announcing blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. So this, so what they end up talking about, basically like the monetary policy statement that we end up having in the U.S., kind of like what ended up happening with us with FOMC yesterday or last week. So consumer price index rose 3.6, the fastest in 4 decades. Okay. Well, all right. That makes sense. It makes sense why the market ended up dropping like that. Now, everybody, give me 1 second. I want to see if see what ended up happening right here. There we go. See a major drop in all of these. My system did not take a trade on it. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. System didn't take a trade on it. But we are in a push zone when it comes down to this pair. We take a look at it from a 15-minute perspective, and there goes that drop. That happened. This happened right when the news actually ended up coming out. That's at 2200 22. That would be 11. No, 10 o'clock. Yeah, 10 o'clock at night. When did this news come out? Here we go. Interest rate decision came out yesterday. So that makes sense. All right. Makes perfect sense now. Makes perfect sense. All right. So with that being said, there's no trade to be able to take on US yen. I'm not going to end up jumping in something that's already done fell down 500 points. So we're going to get our eyes off of this one. There's no reason to sit up there and expect that you're going to end up having any more movement that you can be able to get and feel comfortable with. US 30, what is happening with US 30? I'm going to talk about this in two different perspectives. One, let's go ahead and talk about it when it comes down to the Boss EA. Boss EA, we are getting, okay, that's the band EA. Let's get that off the screen. I told you we're going through forward and back testing, looking at what's happening with Euro United. Well, I'm sorry, with US 30. Being able to take a look at it, trying to find some more optimizations that we can be able to work off of. So there you go. Y'all can see that in the background as we go through. Let's see. Get this out of the way. So we talked about this trade yesterday. We got trade in on Friday. Talked about the two positions of where the market could potentially end up going based off of using the vortex system. And we also end up saying that once the market ends up breaking a resistance or breaking a support, it's going to end up falling down to another support. So that's exactly what ended up happening. And once again, I apologize that my screen is actually slow. Once again, I'm optimizing in the background. So I think that's the reason why it's going a little bit slower than what it typically does. So if you take a look at this, I want y'all to pay attention to one thing real quick. We had high volume node right here, open gap right there. High volume node right here, or medium volume node, open gap right there. And then after that, we have the bottom of this, which will end up being essentially right here to that area. So this gives us two very large pockets that we can be able to trade with minimum volatility. And the reason why I'm saying minimum volatility is because that obviously we're getting close. We're getting close to the getting close to people just celebrating holidays and everything else like that, which means that less people are going to end up trading in this area. So what has happened is that when we end up getting into this trade at 33,300 and getting out at 32,970, the reason why we got out was because we ended up seeing this high volume node that was coming for that overall peak. So it was like, if we get out early, we can be able to take one profit off of it. Currently, right now, the market end up basically fulfilling the second peak and bouncing right back up to the top side. Now, why would it do that? Well, you take a look at the left, that is the halfway point of the first consolidation that we end up having right around this overall area in this range before the market actually ends up breaking out. Now, if it breaks below this overall range of 32,516, then that means that it's going to end up falling down to 31,870, and it's probably going to end up doing it a little bit, probably going to end up being a little bit more faster than what it did it previously. So this is what I'm going to end up telling you to do. Take a look at what's happening with the overall consolidation of this movement, because at some point in time, that's eventually going to end up happening. Market's going to end up falling and breaking below this overall level. Once it breaks below that overall level, then we know that 31, what was it, 31, horizontal line. Let's see. 31,930 is the next position where the market's going to end up eventually falling to. Okay, so please keep that in mind. That's a manual style of trading. We definitely end up using this, especially over the summertime, but we see what our natural resistance is. We see what our natural support is right now as the market is basically done fell down to the bottom. So 32,480 will end up being a position where I will look at being able to sell. Once that market ends up breaking below that, we're going to 31,920 or 31,930 as a way of being able to get out. So please keep that in mind. You can almost go ahead and place in that pending order at this particular point. I can almost bank and say that that's probably going to end up happening at some point in time. The question is it going to happen early, or is it going to happen during the break, or whatever may be the case? We've already done tapped on it once, so we may end up seeing a situation where we may tap it a second time before actually truly moving. But ultimately, I do think that is going to end up happening. I think that market will get to this point, break below, and then after that, make that movement to the downside. But the question is, will it be sometime today? I don't think so, because we only have one tap to the downside. So I think we'll probably need a little bit more room before this market actually ends up dropping. But it is something to be able to pay attention to. I'm going to close out on that one. Like I ended up saying, I got a couple things optimizing in the background, so there's no reason to keep on giving y'all slow data, because I see that we're starting to slow up a little bit. Like always, if you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up liking the Trade with Travis page. Also, if you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about expert advisors and what we end up doing, please make sure that you end up going to our secondary YouTube page, which is Expert Advisor Reviews. What I'm going to do is send a link over to everyone so you can be able to take a look at that. But in that page, what we end up doing is legitimately going over some of the best expert advisors on MQL5 in the most different way than anybody else does. What we end up paying attention to the overall numbers. We end up displaying the numbers and focusing in on, is a system going to end up being a great system overall? We end up having a star rating, a system that is different from most other systems as a way of being able to, one, give you all of the facts that you need to know before being able to buy, but also letting you know what you should expect before actually being able to get into it. And by being able to do that, I think it makes everybody a better informed trader as you go through and be able to make your own decisions and being able to get in. Now that link is right here. Interested in being able to learn a little bit more, there you go. Be able to hop inside of the Expert Advisor Reviews channel. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade and trading your plan.